Hello, in the video coming up, we'll be looking at sharing files in Google Drive. So in this video, I'm going to show you an example of sharing files between different accounts on Google Drive. So I'm using two different computers. So working on the basis of these are two individuals who will be sharing files to see how they can easily share files and edit files without sending files using nearby share or sending files by email. If you're going to be working with files, the best thing to do is to do collaboration through Google Drive. So we look at that today in this video. Now the one I'm going to be sharing, most things would be, it would more likely be files that everybody has to work on. So it could be a big group of people. So it might be spreadsheets or database programs or anything like that. But on this one today, I'm just going to show you how you share images between one person to the next and what it means and how it works and how you can set the permissions and all of that. So we'll look at that today. So on here, we've got the one account up here. So I'll open up Google Drive. And as you can see, this is my account, and this is for C computing. And then on this one here, we've got another account on a different computer. And we'll open up Google Drive. And as you can see, there's nothing in here at the moment, nothing whatsoever. Okay, so if we go back to this account here, and we want to share some files, what we could do, for example, what I'm going to do is, if I just open up there, and then go to there, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly run this. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick photo of this here, like that, and press capture, close that down, and then we should have that now in downloads. I have this one here, so I'm going to just copy that and then put it into Google Drive. So you need to put it into Google Drive, because if you try and share from here, it would just give you the options of the nearby share and stuff like that, which is not what we're doing, because we're working on the basis these people could be across the other side of the world, for example. So that isn't really what you'd want to do. So go into Google Drive, and I am actually going to create a folder for it. So I'm just going to put shares. You don't need to do it this way. I'll show you different ways of doing it through the video. It is quite a long video, but I'm going to show you different ways you can do it. And I'm going to paste that in there, and there we go. So now if we go to my drive, we can see we've got shares here. So I need to share this with someone else. So the easiest way to do it is if I right click and click share with others. Right, so this is taking me into Google Drive, which is really the best option, really. So let me just close this down and we'll do it again. But that's fine, what was just done. So at the moment we're in the ChromeOS files, which is fine. You can do shares this way, as you just saw. But I think the best way is if you actually go into your Google Drive. Okay, so we got it from here. It's easy to visualize. And then we got the shares here. That's the one where I've just put that picture in. So we want to share the actual whole folder. So right click and then click share. And then I want to share it with, there we go. And that's who I'm going to share it with there. Click that. And then here you will see that it's got notify people. If I leave that on, when I do send, it will send them an emails to let them know. So that's good if you need to do that, but you don't need to do that as well. But if you're sharing it between a Google Drive to another person with Google Drive, you can take that off as well if you want to. And there's options here to view, comment or edit, but I'm going to leave it on edit for now. I'm going to share that. That's fine. And now if we go back to the other computer, as it was, we can see it was all blank, it will still be for the My Drive because that's not where it is, but you've got here shared with me. So if you go there, you'll now see that there's a folder with shares, and you can see it's shared because there's a little person there. Okay, and if you click on there, and then you will see the picture that has been shared. Now down here, it's got who has access, and it's got the person who shared it, they're the owner, and I have access as well, and I can edit. So in relation to editing, so if I wanted to, say for example, I was supposed to be doing a project with this, and it was something totally different, and I wasn't supposed to change this image, that's something you'd need to be aware of. But at the same time, just something on the side, I decided, well, actually, I haven't got a profile picture up here, so I'd really like a profile picture. So if I opened up this and had a look and I went, oh yeah, that looks quite nice, but not too sure where I want this big square here, I just want the actual cube. So you wouldn't want to change this one here, because any changes you make to this will also show on the other person's as well. So for example, I'll go back here, and then here, we'll do this one here. So we're going to share this, right click, share, and we're going to share it again. There we go. Take that off and put share. That's done. Now if we go back to the other computer and go shared with me, you can see that's there as well. So this is shared. So if I change this, so if I just open this up and I decide, for example, I want the background color to be, I don't know, this bright red, and then press done. Once I close that, it's changed it for me. So if I open it up, I'll see it's red. But also, if you go the other person, what they will notice who shared it, it's changed for them as well. And that's most likely what you would want to happen if you're sharing files, but it would depend on the type of files you're sharing. So if you're sharing a spreadsheet, for example, and the whole idea is that people adding, don't get me wrong, sharing spreadsheets are great, but if you are sharing spreadsheets and a lot of people are going to be adding data, that can get a bit messy if you're sharing between row to row to row, because if someone starts writing on one row and then someone else is as well, it's very easy to override their data. So there's different ways of doing that. You could have separate tabs, for example, and that would remove all of that. So in that scenario, if you had a spreadsheet and you had different tabs and you was all working on it, you'd want, when people make changes, for it to update the original. That's the whole point of sharing. But at the same time, if, for example, this isn't something the owner who actually shared it would have wanted to have seen, you need to make sure that before you do it, so we go back to this computer. So if we just take the background and put it back to where it was, put it onto white, leave it like that. So that now has put it on to white here, and it will be also on the other one computer here, which we can see, which is all fine. So if I did want to change something that's been shared, but I didn't want it to be shown with the person who shared it me as well, you'd need to make a copy. So if you right click on there, and you can do make a copy here. So click make a copy. Okay, and that's moved it to my drive, as you can see here, show file location. I could click there, or just click on my drive, and that's a copy. Now when you click on the copy, you'll notice that there's no access. So this is my actual copy now, so I can do anything on this and it won't change this one that has been shared. Now if you want to have a copy of the ones that have been shared, not just in this shared with me, you also want it in my drive, if you right click on it, and you can do add a shortcut to drive, and then my drive, click on here. If I had lots of folders it would show, but I don't, so I'll just leave it there, add shortcut. So it'll leave it with shared with me, this, and then if you go to my drive, you'll see here, and you've got the little arrow which shows it's a shortcut. So this one here is still the one which is shared. as you can see. So if I change this one, it would change the person who sent it to me as well. It would change their copy. So that's fine. So you can do it with that one, but this one here is my actual copy. Now, if the person who shared the file decided you can no longer have access, they can remove access for you. So we go back to the other computer. So we're here and we've decided we need to remove access. Just right click, go to share. And here, where this is me and this is who we shared it with, click on there and click on remove access. If you transferred ownership, it would transfer ownership over to them, which you can do as well. But we'll remove access and then click save. And then if we go back to the other computer, as you'll see here, there's a padlock. Now the reason why this is here is because this is an actual shortcut. So that shortcut will stay there. If we go here, you'll notice that share has actually just disappeared. But the reason why it stays there with padlock is because you created it as a shortcut. You can't open it, you can't do anything with it, it's not there. So essentially, if you did, that's the only thing you need to, if you do create lots of shortcuts from shareds and then access is removed for whatever reasons, then if you've created lots of shortcuts in My Drive, you're going to get a lot of these. So there could be, you could argue that it's best just to leave them all in shared with me rather than moving to My Drive. Okay, so here now, if we just remove that one, so there, but you'll see the copy that we actually made, so not the shortcut. Although the access has been removed, that's still there because you've actually created a copy. And if you create a copy, all of the shares remove. So if you are sharing a file and you need to keep it shared, don't create a copy. You need to just, if you need to put it into My Drive, just do it as a shortcut instead. So if we go back to here, if for example, this was shared just to be shared for whatever reason and you couldn't change it as much, you're supposed to leave it, you'd have to just leave it in your My Drive and you just make sure there's no edits done on it. But if you wanted to use this for something else, so say for example, I realized here I've got no account image, I could download this. So if I click on there, just click on download, and then that's now in my downloads folder here. I can change this without worrying that it's actually going to cause a problem with the shared file. So you can also download files as well to your downloads folder, and that will remove the share. So just to show you, so if we go here and we just completely change this now to, I don't know, really small dimensions, just like that. So it's just, I can't even see it. Click save. So that's now in your downloads folder, as you can see, much smaller. But if you go back to your Google Drive, the original you haven't changed. So if you do need to change things and you don't want it, and it shouldn't impact the other people who are sharing the files, you can either download it to your downloads folder, or if you right click, just do make a copy, and that will be fine. If you do obviously want to edit them and you want it to be shown elsewhere as well, then just do in shared with me, or you can do a shortcut to your My Drive. So it's really good that you can do this, and it's quite instant that it shows on the other person's computer as well, the changes. So be aware of that as well. As I said, it's going to be more, it could be stuff to do with artwork, but it would also most likely be to do with spreadsheets as well. And if it is a real serious project where you're sharing files with people to work on, personally speaking, I would definitely make sure I had a copy somewhere before the sharing of data which wasn't shared, because if something went wrong, and then I'm sure that you can revert the information and get the information back, but it'd be much easier just to have a copy. So even if you've got files that people are working on that they've been shared over a period of time, I think every now and again it would be a good idea to get a copy of that and have it somewhere where it isn't shared, because if it went wrong, if someone did something wrong and the file's being shared with 10 people, that would all be then the same for everybody else, even the original who shared it. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to change the ownership. So at the moment, if we click, these are just suggestions here. These are the actual files. So click on here. So the ownership there is there. So I'm going to change the ownership over to this computer here. So if we go back to this computer and go to my drive and go to shares here, right click and click on share, and here we're going to transfer ownership. You'll be the owner until this person accepts ownership. So send invitation. So that's done. Just close that. Now the invitation will be by email. So at the moment, if we just quickly move from there back to there, click in here, we'll notice they're still the owner. But then if we go to email, we will say invitation to own, click on there and just accept, or you can decline, but accept. That's it. And once you've done that, you will notice now, you might have to click off and click back on for it to refresh. Click on there, you will now see the ownership has changed. So if we go back to the other computer, let's go back to here, go to shares. View details. Here you can see you're still sharing it because the sharing hasn't been taken away, but you're no longer the owner of it. So that's how you change the ownership of something as well. And then if we go back to the other computer, so here, as I said, here, if I wanted to change this file, because it's shared, it's not ideal to change it here. So if I downloaded it to my downloads folder, then I can change it. And I did change it, but I didn't want to do what I did, so just delete that there. Go back down here, go to shared with me, click in there, do a download, and then we've got a copy in our downloads folder. And then I can happily, if I want to, for example, if I wanted to use this as my avatar or my account image, I might not want this big gap here. So if I just went like that, so it's just a bit more body edges, like that. Doesn't have to spot on. There we go. Do done, save. As you can see, I've changed the file now. So I can then use that to change this. Go from computer and go to downloads. That's quite a large file. I think if you're ever going to use something for an avatar or anything like that, personally speaking, I think you want the file to be as small as possible. This is going a bit off track now about what this video is about, but I'm just going to show you, now I'm showing you, I might as well do it. So go to there, quite a large file, so I'm going to open up this. This is a new install on this computer, that's why nothing's got any shortcuts to anything. Okay, click on there, downloads. There we go, so that dramatically reduces that file down and it still looks okay. Yeah, that's fine, so we do that. And then click on here. My computer, open computer, and it's the small one there. That's fine. Maybe I should let it live big, but I'll do that later. That's fine. Okay, and then save as profile picture. There we go. So really it was just to show you I could change my profile picture here, but that was more of a personal thing that I wanted to do. So instead of doing it, if I did that on this one here, I would have changed that file for everyone. So it's just really to let you know when you are sharing files, if you want to make changes that is not something as part of what you're supposed to be doing with a shared file, always make sure you make a copy and download it to your downloads folder. There's so much more we could look at with sharing files with Google Drive, and this was just to give you a rough idea of how it works. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel for future videos, and thanks for watching.